the two individuals or stories that I want to relate to you all is a boy by the name of Randy, a boy by the name of Daniel. And Randy was, I taught third grade, so he was about 8 years old, or 9 years old, and he was from a mixed background. The socioeconomic level of the school and the population that we served was low income to maybe lower middle class, because we drew some from the hills of Oakland as well. But Randy was an interesting character. He was an outcast, and none of the other students really paid much mind to him, primarily because he wasn't the brightest, he wasn't the most social, and he also carried around a bit of a smell with him. And his smell was really due to the fact that he rarely, if ever, took baths at home. And the reason why he did that is because he rarely, if ever, had anyone at home to remind him or to force him to take a bath. And so he would sit in his corner, and over the course of the year that I had him, actually a little less than a year, I got to know him a little bit, but not so well, but I would reach out and I'd say, "Hello, Randy," every single day. Randy actually also had HIV. He received it via transfusion because of a surgery that he had earlier on. And Randy actually ended up passing away in the spring of that first year of my teaching, which, you add a first year of teaching to now one of your students passing away, and to talk about traumatic experience. But the point about Randy was that while he was at Children's Hospital in Oakland, he actually asked his mom to give me a call and invite me over to visit with him. And I said, of course. And I was there. And what I didn't know until later on was that I was the only teacher that he actually asked to come on by. And obviously it wasn't because I taught him very well, but I think that there was some kind of connection. And from what I said before about awareness to now family, my concept of family begins to expand a little bit. Daniel is also in that class. Daniel was not sick, and he wasn't thin by any means. He was about 4'11" and almost 200 pounds. He was 10 years old and going on 11 in third grade. Didn't really read, didn't really write very much. Had probably the quickest sense of humor that I've ever met, and primarily because he had to. He was older than everyone else. He was bigger. He was the point of everyone's jokes. So long story short, Daniel and I established a relationship, a very tumultuous one, where we're trying to go ahead and get him to a point of appreciating school. And to be honest, at the end of that year of third grade, I wouldn't have imagined that he walked away, again, knowing much, learning much, feeling any stronger connection with school than when he first came in. But 3 years later, so I'd finished my teaching, I'd gone up to Seattle, and I was in grad school up there, and I get this phone call, and it's someone on the other line said, "Mr. Yu," and immediately, Daniel's got a very recognizable voice. "Mr. Yu?" I said, "Daniel, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, Mr. Yu, you said that you're going up to Seattle," and I remember that. I said, "That's great, Daniel, are you okay? Is everything okay?" He said, No, everything's great. I found your name via information, and I tracked you down, and there's only one Ron Yu in Seattle. Can you imagine that? So I said, "That's great. So Daniel, what's going on?" And he said, "I just want to give you a call and let you know that I made it to junior high." And I'm getting a little choked up now, just as much as I did back then. But between Randy and Daniel that first year, I can't say that there was much learning around reading or math or social studies or anything going on. But there was some kind of a connection, and there was some kind of a bond that had been built or was being built. And more than anything else, there's an awareness that I started to grow at that point, that family, for me, actually meant more than just my uncles and aunties. It actually meant there's a circle of influence of individuals that I touch and that touch me. And so that's my current definition of family, and I am excited about seeing that grow. And my last point, I'll make this very quick, is around community. I'm fortunate to have a new baby girl who's a little over 7 months old, and so you can tell from the bags under my eyes. But it's the most wonderful experience I can imagine. But this question of community, who's my community, and how do I know? I take the lead from my little girl Kira, and it's the community is everyone and everywhere. It's interconnected. Whether you think about how we're connected from an environmental standpoint or technological standpoint, or even a relationship standpoint. You know, the hugs that you guys are sharing here as far as Summer Search, you're going to find someone on your travels in Paris, in Southeast Asia, and then you're going to find out that you're a Summer Search alum as well, and you're going to hug, and you'll realize your community's there as well. So it's probably a cop-out in terms of an answer to what is my community, but it really is. And I believe that as Kira grows, that community will continue to grow and become even more interconnected. So apologies if I went over time, but that's my story.